Hey guys, welcome to my channel. First of all, thank you for the great support for the previous videos of joint venture. Those who have not seen or not subscribed to my channel, subscribe immediately to get more notifications and updates related to my channel. In today's session, I am going to concentrate on theory part of hire purchase system along with the various formats. Students, please note this session is very important before solving the problems of hire purchase system, and also in this chapter it covers 30 marks 30 marks for BCom and BBA students of University of Mysuru, 20 marks for problem and 10 marks you can expect for theory question. So basically we'll see what is hire purchase system. So we'll start understanding the meaning of hire purchase system. So basically hire purchase system is also a kind of purchase or sale agreement. In this method, the major difference between the other methods of buying assets or selling the asset is very simple, that is the title of ownership. In case of other methods, the title of ownership will be immediately transferred, but in this system the title of the ownership will be transferred only after completing the payment of all the EMIs. Once you finish making the payment up to the last EMI, then only the title of the ownership will be transferred. This is the major difference between the other type of purchase or sale agreement and this agreement. You may ask which are the other type of agreements. It may be a credit sale agreement, it may be installment purchase system. These are some of the other types of buying and selling agreements. So we'll see what is the actual meaning of hire purchase system. So hire purchase system is a special system of purchase and sale. So as I told, it is a special system of purchase and sale. It is of recent origin, that it was introduced in the year that is 1970s onwards. It was introduced. The other system of buying or selling asset which was there for a longer, like it is the traditional methods will be there. So when goods are purchased on hire purchase system, purchaser pays the price in installment. So here the purchaser will not pay the full amount, that is the lump sum amount. He'll make all the cost price of the asset will be split into different EMIs. He'll pay those EMIs basically monthly or quarterly or yearly basis. So goods are delivered to the purchaser at the time of the purchase agreement. So but the ownership will be transferred only after the payment of last installment. This I have already covered in the beginning. So you will not be given the full right towards the asset until you pay the last EMI. So last one is all the installments paid are treated as hire. Here until you complete all the payments, you will be considered as hirer of the asset. So therefore whatever you are paying towards the EMIs will be considered as the rent for the usage of the asset. So next we'll see the features of hire purchase system. The first feature is very simple, that is there is an agreement between the seller and buyer. So as usual, like in compared to other mode of buying the asset, so here there is an agreement will be there. So in every purchase or selling process. So second one, the possession of the goods immediately possessed from the seller to the buyer only after the payment of last installment. This I have already covered in meaning. So any detail if you want, you can rewind the video and you can see which related to this feature. Third one is the legal ownership is transferred. This also I have already covered, that is until you pay the last EMI, will be not eligible to claim the rights toward the asset. In this system, risk lies on the seller. Suppose if the asset is damaged in between while usage, or else like something happened to the asset may be motor car, it may be truck, it may be wagons, whatever. So all the risk pertaining to the particular assets will be, it will be lies with the seller. So he'll take all the sole responsibility of the asset. In this system, the buyer is considered as daily. So this is very important. So the buyer is always considered as a daily buyer. In this system, buyer can exercise the option of written. So here, suppose when you start using the asset, if you don't like the asset while using it, if it is giving continuous problem to your business daily activity, then you can immediately return all the asset to the seller, and you can cancel the agreement. Next, we'll see the next slide, that is the difference between hire purchase system and sale. So first of all, I told it was introduced in the year 1972. This was introduced in the year 1930. So it is of recent origin, hire purchase system, which is governed under the Hire Purchase Agreement, Hire Purchase Act of 1932. It was Sale of Goods Act 1930. It is governed by Sale of Goods of 1930. The second difference is, like, the ownership is transferred. So here the meaning again it is repeating, like we saw in the features of hire purchase system. Also here also you can use the same dialogue. So in case of sale, the ownership is transferred immediately. As I told, the ownership will be transferred immediately. The payment is made in different installments here, but here the payments will be there in lump sum. So next is, so you are supposed to pay the interest because you are paying in the numerous installments. So the buyer pays only for the price of the goods. Here, because he is paying the amount in lump sum, no need to pay the interest. So last difference is, on the non-payment of the installments, the seller can repossess the asset. So basically, you should understand the word repossess. What is repossess? Repossess means the buyer will come to you and they will take back the asset. It is called as repossess. Why repossession happens? Whenever you miss to pay any installment, repossession happens. So here on the non-payment, you cannot take back the asset or the goods which is sold to the buyer. So here you have to take legal action. You don't have any right to come and take the asset in the normal sales. So these are the major difference between hire purchase system and sales. Hope you all guys understood the meaning of hire purchase system and sales. So we'll see what are the different types of problems you can face in your exams. Very, very important, guys. You have to lend your ears now. Don't skip the channel video. So please, I'm requesting you, trust me, among these 5, any one type is very much very important. That is, most of the times if you see the previous question paper, number 1 they have asked, that is back calculation method. So most of the time. Second is outstanding balance method is the most repetitive question. The third method is credit purchase method. So this repossession system, if you see in overall in Mysore University question paper, they have asked maximum twice. I have seen more than 15 years question paper, so they have asked only twice. When the rate of interest is missing also, maybe I have seen like once or twice, that's it. So first preference you are supposed to give it for back calculation, second preference is for outstanding, third one credit purchase method, fourth one repossession, fifth one rate of interest. Let us try to understand the meaning of all the 5 types of problems which you are going to see. So type number 1, outstanding balance method. So let us see what is outstanding balance method. Very simple. I would like to explain this concept with a small example. Suppose you have purchased a machinery worth rupees 10,000 rupees. So in this 10,000 you have made a down payment of 2,000. What is the remaining amount? Remaining amount is 8,000 rupees. If you are paying this 8,000 rupees in 4 equal installments, 8,000 divided by 4 is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, that is 8,000 rupees plus 2,000 down payment, total it will be 10,000 rupees. So you are not paying any interest here along with the cost price. So therefore, whenever you see such a situation where the balance is nil, balance means 10,000 minus 2,000 down payment minus 4 EMI 2222. If you deduct all this, you will get nil. Whenever if you find the balance as nil, so this is called as outstanding balance method. I hope you have understood. So we'll see the second type, that is the credit purchase method. Credit purchase method is also a simple method where the interest is included in cost price or the EMIs which you are paying. Suppose the same example I take, 10,000 rupees, you have purchased an asset or machinery worth rupees 10,000. In this 10,000 you have made an down payment of 2,000. What is the balance? 8,000 rupees. In this 8,000 you are paying in 5 equal installment. 5 equal installment of 2,000. Suppose if they mention in the question 2,000, you are paying 5 times. 2 into 5 is how much? 10,000. Down payment 2,000. So here you are paying 2,000 extra for the interest amount. This is called as credit purchase method. Let us see the third important method, that is back calculation method. Here back calculation, to identify this question, it is very simple. I will take the same example, that is the cost price of the asset, how much? That is 10,000 rupees. This 10,000 will be missing in the question. What is your job? Your job is to find the cost price of the problem by doing, that is the reverse technique, that is from bottom you are supposed to calculate. I'll show you the format of analytical table, how to calculate this back calculation method. So when I solve the problems, so these three important methods are very the important methods will be asked for 20 marks for the present students. Those students who have taken admission before 2019, they are going to face the same question for 15 marks. Next we'll see the fourth type of problem under hire purchase system is, that is repossession. What is repossession? Repossession means the seller will come to the buyer and he'll take the asset back to his business. Very simple. Whenever the buyer is not able to pay the EMIs on time, or else if he missed to pay 1 or 2 EMIs, he'll come to the buyer and he'll take back the asset. This is called as repossession. The word is very important here. Repossession. Repossession is very important here. So here there are two types of repossession. What are those two types? Two types are, one is fully repossession and partly repossession. What is fully repossession? Fully repossession, suppose you have purchased an asset, that is two trucks you have purchased. You could not pay the EMIs. The seller will come to you and he will take back all the asset. That is 2 trucks were being sold, 2 trucks he will take back. Second type is partly repossession. Partly repossession means among 2 he will leave one with the buyer itself and he will take back the remaining asset. So one he will adjust towards whatever the EMIs which he is already paid. So the last type is, that is when rate of interest is missing. This is not so likely, they are not asked frequently in your examination. Therefore no need to concentrate. I suggest concentrate on these 4, that is type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4. Very important. This is also easy. I solve the problem based on the demand. If you really like the videos, like how your support was there for joint venture videos, if your support is for the same for this video also, I try to do more and more videos on the different problems. So these are the various types of problems. So overall I can say outstanding balance method, interest will not be included in EMI. Credit purchase method, interest will be included in EMI. Back calculation method, cost price will be missing, the asset value will be missing. Repossession, there are 2 types. Repossession means taking the asset back by the seller fully and partly. Fully means taking all the asset, partly means taking a part of the asset or few assets. Last one, when the interest rate is missing, the rate of interest will be missing in the question. We need to find out rate of interest with the different formula. So next we'll see the format. So the format of outstanding balance method and all other methods will be same, only with related to analytical table. This analytical table Yes, the heading will be same. That is, a date will be there, cost price will be there in each and every types. Interest will be there, EMI will be there, balance will be there, depreciation will be there. There is no change in the heading of column names of the heading. Only the changes in this cost price. So that is, cost price is very, very important here. Cost price column. If it is outstanding balance method, so then you are supposed to write all the EMIs in cost price column only. Read the note for outstanding balance method. Write the EMIs in cost price. I gave this example now. I'll take the same example. Suppose if you are paying the down payment 2000 and 2000 4 times you are paying now, that 2000 you are supposed to write in cost price column only when interest is not included in the question, that is, or the EMI. So next we'll see the format of the next for the remaining methods. So as I told, the names of the columns will be same. There is no change in the names of the column, that is date, cost price, interest will be same, EMIs will be same, balance will be same, cost price. In the previous, that is outstanding balance method, you used to write all the EMIs in cost price column. For the other methods means credit purchase method, back calculation method and repossession method, you are supposed to write all the EMIs in the EMI column itself, because here interest will be included. We should deduct the interest, then we should find out the cost price. I'll neatly explain how to solve the analytical table in the next video. You can see that. So for the remaining method, that is CPM, BCM. CPM is credit purchase method, back calculation method, RPM is repossession method. Write the EMI in EMI column only. The last method, that is interest, when rate of interest is missing also, here also you should write in the EMI column. I hope two of the tables you have understood. So I'll once again like to show the format here. Analytical table, cost price, all the installments will be taken under cost price. Here it will be taken under EMI. This is the only difference. It is very simple, no need to worry. So next, along with the analytical table, irrespective of the types, the ledger accounts will be same. Suppose in the question, if they ask prepare the necessary ledger account, you should open all the accounts. All the accounts you should open. Totally how many accounts you should open? 3 plus 5, 8 accounts you should open. If they ask necessary, most of the times they won't ask, because opening 8 accounts, it is a time consuming one. It is not difficult, it is a time consuming one. So number 1, asset account. There are 2 books usually, that is, one is the hire purchaser. Here there will be 2 parties, one is the purchaser and the seller. Hire purchaser is called as HPR. Hire purchaser is called as HPR. Hire seller is called as HSR. Hire seller is called as HSR. 2 parties will be there. In those books we need to open all these accounts. Number 1, asset account. Number 2, hire seller account. Number 3, interest. Number 4, depreciation. Number 5, P&L. Here in the books of hire seller, so asset will not come, because after selling the asset he will be not having asset, right? Therefore the asset account will not be there, and depreciation account will also be missing. So next, in his book we need to prepare hire purchase account, purchaser account, interest account and P&L account. So in both the cases, P&L is not compulsory if you open or if you don't open. So no need to worry. If you open, it is better. It's a learning process. So no need to open P&L account. So but it is a part of the problem. Yes. I hope you understood all the important ledger accounts. So next we'll see a simple problem. We'll take a simple problem. Here I have taken a problem which comes under the category of outstanding balance method. Suraksha Travel Limited purchased 4 Indica cars on 1st Jan 2007 from Tata Motors under hire purchase system on the following terms. Here you should make a very important note, that is 4 Indica cars. They are not purchasing 4 Indica cars by paying 3,60,000 each. They have not mentioned the word each. 4 Indica cars together, how much they are charging? They are charging 3,60,000. Now you came to know what is the cost of the car, that is 3,60,000. So they are also making a down payment of rupees, that is they have not mentioned directly here, they have given percentage. What is the percentage? 10. 3,60,000 into 10 is how much? That is 36,000. So 3,60,000 minus 36,000, if you do, how much you will get? 3,24,000 you will get. This 3,24,000 you are supposed to pay in 3 equal installment. 3 equal installment means 3,24,000 divided by 3 is 1,08,000 you will get. 1,08,000, 1,08,000. You are not paying extra. Even though they have mentioned 9% interest, you are paying 1,08,000, 1,08,000, 1,08,000 plus a down payment of 36,000. It will come like 3,60,000 rupees. The total will be 3 lakhs. You are not paying anything extra towards the EMI. So therefore, this should be considered as outstanding balance method. So next is what you are supposed to do, and also they are charging depreciation of 10%. So Indica car account, this is asset account. Second one is Tata Motors account. Third one is Suraksha Travels. Suraksha Travels is a buyer. So therefore Suraksha Travel is hire purchaser. Hire purchaser. Indica cars from Tata Motors. Tata Motor is hire seller. Hire seller. Okay guys, I hope you have understood the concepts, the formats, the meaning, feature, differences thoroughly. Yeah, if you really want to see the solution of outstanding balance method, so you have to see my one more video. Before that, please, if you are not subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe now. Please like and share to your friends. Thank you. Meet you in the next video.